Welcome back to another edition of Church After Hours. We are back in the building. As you can see, we got our man Barry Bonds, the most requested guest on the show / crew member. Bonds, before we get into this week's topic, man, what's been going on, man? Where you been hiding at? The people ain't seen you this season, man. What's good?
Man, it's been work, and more work. Right now, people are going crazy out here. They out here stealing like it's no religion. They out here doing all kind of ungodly acts. I
Right.
mean, everything right now, dude, is all upside down and backwards. I don't know what's going on with society right now, but hopefully we can get it back the right way.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah,
up.
yeah.
That's
That's
what's up.
dope, man. That all of you know, people don't really think about it a lot, and I'll say people in a general term that everybody's experience is not yours. We all have different experiences throughout the day. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and as we hurl jokes at each other in love. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, we never know what another person is going through, and that's not just for Barry. That's for everybody. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like we all interact with different things, and it's interesting that we get the perspective for somebody that's working in retail that's experiencing that right now, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I pray for my brother that you find peace in all that nonsense.
And I think, Kurt, that was a perfect segue to get into our conversation tonight, talking about perspectives and seeing certain things through your lens. And we're all music lovers, and the music I like, you might not like, or the next generation might not really rock with. And a young brother who's been a lightning rod in the music industry right now, brother D1 out of New Orleans, Louisiana, has been talking about how it's been a major disconnect with music and how music isn't resonating with people like it once did. Is over glorification of violence, over glorification of ratchetness. Like these things are being promoted big time. Even calling some of these rappers potential plants that's being planted into the music industry to give bad messaging to our people. So I'm gonna go to you first, Bonds, our resident former music exec. Talk to us about some of the things that D1 said, and what is your thoughts on the state of black music in 2024?
Well, I will say this. Years ago, I came to a point where I made up in my mind. I said, it's either you're either going to agree with the message or you're going to disagree with the message. But, you know, right or wrong, you see that the messages that right now are popular in our music is causing so much drama,
Mm-hmm.
trauma, and destruction
Right.
that are you going to agree with it, or are you going, because you can't just stand in the middle. You can't say, what's a good beat? And, this and that. So I had to ultimately make up my mind to say, no, there's no compromise around this. I disagree with it, and just kind of like disassociate myself from glorifying it. Now, there's a little caveat to that because it's like, okay, these are some of the, songs that, shape your childhood. You know what I'm saying? Some of the songs you grew up with that you have fond memories linked to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey,
So it's not like you're not going to
I can only
listen
imagine
to it.
what song Kurt just thought about, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to not listen to it at
Right,
all. But the
right,
thing is, you're not going to glorify it. You're not going to
mm,
promote it. You're not going to
right,
put it out there and turn people on to it like, you need to listen to this. Nah, I listen to it in the comfort of my own home, the privacy of my own home, because I know that I can handle and understand and discern the message and not let the message turn me into a savage. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? Or infiltrate my thoughts and everything. So what the brother D1 was saying is very on time, but this is just a reaffirmation of stuff that we already knew,
That's a
and
fact.
that those who were in their higher vibration already could understand his message and could see the inconsistencies as well as the contradictions of our people and our music, and we can see the fallacies of it where like, why are we even listening to this? It don't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like I used to tell you guys back in the day, it's the emperor's new clothes. This
Mm.
whole thing is the emperor's new clothes. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with that story, you know, you might want to look it up, but it's called the emperor's new clothes. And at the end of the day, you know, for those who know the story, the emperor's naked. You can see that and you can point it out and say, you don't have no clothes on. But it was just way too many of us that are just under that spell of, I don't want to be looked at as being lame.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be looked at as being out of pocket, or I don't want to be looked at, you know, but at the end of the day, you have to come to this with no compromise at all. And that's what I had resigned. And that's what I had, you know, placed my allegiance with, is compromise. I don't want to compromise at all. These messages are so whack. These messages are horrible. And at the end of the day, I need to stand on the side of truth and righteousness instead of staying on the side of whatever the popular culture is. So I shout out D1. I do. I don't think that he's doing anything that's, you know, like, I don't know,
Groundbreaking.
groundbreaking. I just feel like he's reaffirming things that we already knew.
Right.
That's it. And I thank him for that, for reaffirming, being bold enough to stand in the gap and say, look, I'm a young dude. I feel like, you know, we should be on the side of righteousness and truth instead of on the side of just, you know, the silly.
Same question for you, Kurt, but I'm gonna add a caveat to it. The state of black music, your opinion on it, and then also the two-parter. D1 is talking about changing the narrative and having an opportunity to promote more positive and more uplifting music. But with D1 being a Christian, I thought it was great because this is Church After Hours. With him being a Christian and promoting Christianity, I don't have a problem with that. But what do you say to those people that says he's Bible thumping and he's trying to get people to get on his time, as the other people say, you trying to get on my time? So what do you say to that as well?
Yeah, it's interesting, the reactions that are being given to what D1 is saying, because I think in a, you know, ridiculous situation the music industry is in, you have to be, you know, very bold when you confront what's going on right now. Right. I mean, you know, we grew up in the beginning of gangster rap, but there was still awareness. Right. So there was a balance. But now, oh man, it makes me think of the video with the little girls. I don't know if there was an after school program or if they was,
I know what you're talking about,
at somebody's house, and they was doing the man, I don't even want to, you know, repeat the words, but
right,
you know, it was just, I mean, I watched that so many times and just thought to myself, you know, that affected me probably the most out of anything. And you know, I think, you know, D1 has been fearless, you know, and really stood on his faith.
Right. Like that's real.
More than other people, for faith for his protection.
Yeah.
Because the way that the brother Jim Jones spoke about him, you know, it was very threatening.
Very.
And the way that Rick Ross spoke on him, you know, it had a little shade of threat, you know, but he also had some critique for him too.
Right.
Which whether you agree with or you don't agree with, my son, you know, really, I think did a very good job of giving a true statement as well as addressing both sides. So he spoke about, you know, D1 offending street dudes. You know what I mean? Just coming straight. He offended street dudes, but at the same time saying that D1, you got to be bold. So it was he reminded me just of the story of Jesus, where he just was all in with the message. You know, whether it was you know, death, you know, that was a result of what you were trying to accomplish. And that brother D1 is on fire for the Lord, I believe, man.
I got a lot of respect for him.
It made me want to go back to church.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting because everybody had their take. Jimmy had his take, and Kurt, you absolutely correct. It was very threatening and just juvenile to say the least. Ross had a critique. He was silly with it. You know what I'm saying? Because Ross was more funny, which you can turn that into a situation to make it funny. But he gave him an honest critique. But the one person who annoyed me more than anybody was Joe Buttons because Joe Button was attacking D1's faith. The way he would talk about, I'm sick of this little Christian nigga. Like what? Like we know good and well if it was a Muslim rapper or a Jewish rapper, you would not be saying I'm sick of this little Jewish rapper. Like that to me was very, very whack. And it was, very anti-Christian. You know what I'm saying? We say everything is anti-Semitic. That was very anti-Christian of Joe Budden.
Brother.
Go ahead.
He was bold in showing what side he was in.
He was.
He was bold in defending the dark side. I call it. I ain't going, put on. Go ahead.
No, because he's an older cat, and like you said, he drew a line in the sand and let them know this is the side that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? So his comments to me was some of the most disturbing comments. And I can have a disagreement with you, but I don't have to attack your faith. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that was super whack and very juvenile and just silly on Joe Budden's part, man. But Bonds, I want you to go back in, man. When we talk about D1 having an honest critique of music, you being a person that worked in the music industry for years down in Atlanta, up in New York, how did we get to this point in music, man? Like, how did music get to where it is? You know what I'm saying? Because Kurt said it earlier. We had gangster rap, you had NWA and the likes, but a lot of times they was telling us what was going on in their world in South Central LA, dealing with the police and all those type of things. So how do we get from the origins of, let's say, gangster rap to where it is now, to where it's like, if it ain't ratchet and just overly vulgar, it's not popping?
Well, I mean, it started from, and this some people say it's myth, but it started from that meeting that they had back in 1988, and that was kind of like, that meeting that the five music industry heads came together at a house out in Beverly Hills, and they had a meeting to discuss the future direction of the music industry as far as rap and hip hop was concerned. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, I guess people still don't know that the major investors in the prison complexes are in the music industry. And the two going hand in hand. But at this meeting, they said that this is going to be the direction that they're going in, and that direction was promoting gangster hip hop music, music with edge, as they called it. And
sound like something they'd say.
Yeah, because in '88, you think about it. I mean, what did you have in '88? You had Eric B. and Rakim. You had KRS-One. You
Kane,
had
Public Enemy,
New School. You had
Latifah and her crew. You know what I'm saying? She was native tongues, but
Rant Verbalizer. Who was that? X-Clan. You had all of these different.
Dang glorious.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Everything was pro-black and red, black, and green, and you know what I'm saying?
Everything. Delta Funky, Homo Sapien. All of these groups were out, and they were glorifying the African,
hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics. Absolutely.
They were glorifying African art. They were glorifying the higher vibration, higher self, way of life, But then once they had NWA, they started seeing, wow, we could really make something of this, and we could really, influence a whole generation plus to go in this route and create a pipeline that would keep us getting paid in perpetuity. And that's what they did. That's what they did. And I tell you, we always knew, that we were going in the wrong direction, but it was because of our love for money that we kept going in that direction, because we felt like it was a way out. So you'll always hear people say, well, yeah, that's
the number one excuse. That's the number one excuse.
Way out is because we're creating all these millionaires in the process. Now, just to tell you about Jim Jones, when I was working at Bad Boy, when we moved over to the Interscope building, we were on the same floor as Bird Gang and Jim Jones's his little label or whatever. And he had a rapper named Jaja, and she was a female rapper, and they were like trying to put her out like, like a Nicki Minaj is now. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But I spent a lot of time with Jaja because she would stay late nights in the studio, not in the studio, but in the office because, they were independent and they were signed. Well, they were in a situation with,
He was with Koch for a minute. Yeah.
yeah, Koch. It was on the same floor. Like Jimmy IE, Todd Moskowitz, they were on the same
Yep.
floor as us, all that. And I spent a lot of time just talking to her. And she would talk about how she really didn't like or agree with the content that she was creating, the music
Mm.
she was creating. She was just saying, like, I know that this music that we producing, we're talking a lot of gang stuff, we're talking a lot of violence, we're talking a lot of doing all this. Where in reality, when I learned her background, I mean, she didn't grow up in the hood like that. She didn't go to like, crazy school. She went to a performing arts school.
Mm.
She wasn't one that really wanted to be in that lane, but this was
Right.
her way in. You know what I'm saying? It was her way in. So she had to do that. And then, years later, her and Jimmy ended up falling out, and she pretty much put him on blast for all of his, crazy, unethical business practices and the way that he treated all of them. So it's not surprising to me that Jim Jones is, what I'm saying, one of those dudes that would, not even acknowledge the light that
Right.
D1 is trying to, offer him or show him as far
Right.
as, an uncompromising message, switching the message up. It's like, you made enough money. You made enough money. When is it that you're going to actually speak the truth, keep it real, and show these kids that, look, everything we was talking about back then, it was all BS. We all did it because we were trying to get paid. Don't
Mm.
follow this route. You can do what you want to do and still get paid. You know what I'm saying? Because we all got the power to change this whole thing. We do. We could just stop listening to the madness, stop listening to the dumb stuff. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But if not, if we don't collectively start coming to our senses and saying, look, that message has not served us for 45, 50 years of hip hop. Let's turn this whole thing around. Let's move a different way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Until we do that, we're still going to stay in the same lane. More murder, more, destruction, more trauma. We'll never get out. We'll never get out.
Yeah. And Kurt, man, what Barry said is eye opening. I love the introspective accounts of dealing with artists back in that time and realizing what went wrong with music, man. When you look at hip hop in particular, and we're gonna talk about R&B too, because I have an interesting segment that I want to talk, especially with you two as it pertains to hip hop. But Kurt, when you look at hip hop and you see there is D1s in the world, there is cats that's making good, solid, positive music. You know what I'm saying? What can we do as consumers besides just streaming and buying it? But what can we do collectively, as Barry talked about, as consumers to make sure the music that we like and the music that we appreciate, the music that deserves the proper shine? What can we do to ensure that that music is getting the proper look that it deserves, man? Because the nonsense is always going to be promoted and it's going to always be at the forefront. But I feel like the listeners have a duty to not only just listen to their favorite artists, but also to help promote it.
The first thing that I would say is that the record industry has taken such, or should I say, taken such a big hit that when you really think about who's consuming like the real garbage, like the radio music, they got to be like really poor. And when I say really poor, I mean like who really, if you're not in the car, like who's at home listening to the radio these days?
Right.
Because once you hear it on the radio, it's when you go and look at it, listen to it on your device, whatever that may be. Some
Right.
people still don't have those, accessibility to those devices, to those music service, those streaming services, I should say, and they're just listening to the radio. The radio is still powerful because of
It
that.
is.
Because of that, all of those, sessions that people play, majority of them are pre-recorded. You know, they're
Mhm.
pre-recorded. People are just uploading it to the radio. If you are from Cincinnati and was listening to 100.3 this past weekend, which it's currently January 29th, you would have heard constant glitches in the music that was uploaded, you know, before like 7 o'clock. It was just, I mean, the whole time. So that lets you know, like, it was a mistake made, but they can't even correct it. Like this shit
Wow.
this shit is on autopilot, son.
It's on autopilot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on autopilot.
That's
And-
crazy.
And so you know what can we do about poverty?
Mm,
You know, would be a better question, because
I like that.
that's really what this is attacking.
Yeah.
You know, it's affecting, you know, a person that, you know, when you don't have the, you know, intelligence, you're really acting out your emotions
Mm,
more so, because the higher intelligence you get, you know, the better you are at lying, you know, the talking comes in, right? So these rappers are probably, what y'all talking about? Y'all kept talking about frequency. You
yeah,
know, these
vibration,
rappers,
frequency.
Yeah,
these
vibration.
rappers
Yeah.
are one vibration and frequency above
Yes.
listeners, to
Mhm.
where they've learned a little game and they can talk a little bit. You know,
Mhm.
they still speak ignorance, but they went from acting out. Some of them still act out because they end up in prison, right? Jail, prison, you know, and then they really take off, or they're murdered.
Yep.
Whichever one. So we're dealing with the high, as they say now, toxic person. So one thing I want to go back to what Barry was talking about is this young lady. What was her name? Zaza?
Jaja.
Jaja. So one thing that D1 talked about as well, what she was experiencing, it's called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is the discomfort a person feels when their behavior does not align with their values or beliefs. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological phenomenon that occurs when a person holds two contradictory beliefs at the same time. So everybody doesn't have this. Some people are just at the point where, you know, this is all they know.
That's
You know,
right.
what they hear on the radio. And they're probably, a lot of them aren't watching TV either. They're watching YouTube on their phone or watching YouTube on their TV. So, man, there's a lot going on, right? It's a lot going on. And poverty is still a mother. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? It's still a mother. It still keeps you from, as we talked about last week with Dr. David Childs, it still keeps you from being able to know and understand. So what Barry was talking about, they don't know or understand.
Yep.
They're just taking in, you know, people they know that are making money. That's all they know is these people making money. That's what
Right.
I want, some money.
Yep.
So how do you stop this? I think there is no stopping.
Mm.
I think there is only, you know, there is only uplifting of people. I don't think everybody can go,
They can't.
because some people will be lifted out of poverty, like the rappers. Some people will be lifted out of poverty and they still love, you know, the dark side,
Yeah.
or as the Christians call it, the devil. The
Yeah.
devil. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's more of a spirit of evil.
Yeah.
That is going to continue to be on this earth until the lights go out.
Yeah. And I think you summed it up beautiful, Kurt. It goes back, like you said, to our conversation with our brother last week, Dr. Childs. It's the number one ism in the world, and that's classes. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, it's a constant attack and bombardment of messaging that is continuously sent to those people that are less fortunate. Because in my opinion, like you said it, those are the ones that are, in my opinion, the most easily influenced, because of their lack of intelligence.
It's sad, man.
It's
truly
sad. It's really sad, man. And that's the state that we in, man.
You know, I used to work for the Wiz before I went and left
Right.
Cincinnati. And, you know, that was an eye-opening experience because I saw personally just the programming that is created. And in the music, when you're talking about a radio station, they have a program director and a music director.
Right.
And the program director is like the top dog. You know what I'm saying? The music director is kind of like the assistant, you know what I'm saying, to the top dog. So those two people
program directors getting everything.
Yeah, and they pretty much program everything that you're going to listen to. Everything, all the music that they're going to play in that particular market is run through those two people. The music director is going to give you a meeting, preferably probably on Tuesdays, because that's when they normally have their meetings, you know, for any artists or anybody like labels that want to call in or artists that want to come in and have meetings to see if they can get their music, you know, added to the playlist.
Or drop that bag off.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of payola going on, people not talking about. But the thing is that we have ultimately the power to change the vibration and change the messaging. But these people, and that's the thing, is that highlighting and putting these people on blast is like the first step in saying, look, you all are setting the playlist.
Right.
You all are the ones that's feeding the airwaves as well as the people this garbage that we're listening to. It's not even about, you know, well, oh, we have to play this because this, that, and the other. They have unilaterally the change, the right to change the playlist, because when you go here in this market, and let's just say when you go to Indianapolis, you go to that market, you're hearing something totally different. And then you go to Detroit, you're hearing something totally different. Now, as far as top 40, yeah, they playing those records because that's controlled by the big labels. The labels.
But let me stop you right there, Bonds. Let me stop you right there, because you just brought up something I think that is so important. It's something that used to happen that doesn't happen anymore. You know, coming from Chicago to Cincinnati in the 90s and going down south in the 80s and 90s, you would hear totally different music on the radio in different cities. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would hear Michael Jackson and Prince and, you know, that kind of stuff everywhere, but you had your local Naptown or regional artists in Indianapolis, your local Chicago artists, Cincinnati, so on and so forth.
The radios weren't nationally syndicated.
Right. Like everywhere is like a one playlist all over the country, to where like if you from a particular city, you got to go to the internet to get your music broken before it can even be played on your own hometown radio station. So talk about, when did this happen? Because I'm thinking it happened maybe late 90s, early 2000s. Talk about, when did this happen, when radio started sounding uniform across the board throughout all 50 states, and why that was so important, and why they did that.
And furthermore, talk about the morning shows that not only are they playing this music, but they're speaking ignorance and putting out books. Go ahead, brother.
So I mean, most of this stuff started like back in like the late 80s, early 90s. That's when you started seeing a lot of these music or these radio stations become syndicated, you know, and tie into big conglomerates like your Clear Channels and your Radio One. You know, back in the day, like Cincinnati, they had WBLZ 103.5, WBL 103.5, WBLZ. And then after that, it changed. It, you know, Blue Chip Broadcasting came in and it changed. So these are small companies that are tied to bigger companies. You know what I'm saying? So the late 80s, early 90s is when they started getting all kind of, you know, taken over by these big companies and becoming, you know, part of the machine, as I call it.
Yeah.
And from there, they started, you know, with the number one market was New York, of course.
Right.
And Tracy Clardy, who was at KISS back in the day, and then she went to Hot 97. She was kind of like the big dog, you know, when it comes to like consulting and, you know, all the other channels chiming in and seeing what they're playing. And it just trickled down. Down. You know, there used to be, you know, radio conventions, you know, radio industry, you know, books, trade books like the BRE. These are all things that people used to read and whatnot. And
if you
they
want to
would,
get into the industry.
no, not only that, but it was just kind of like Sports Illustrated for radio.
Got you.
It was called the BRE, and you would read in there, and you would see who's trending. You would see what songs have the most pickups. You would see what songs are infiltrating what market or whatever. And these are all the things that help create.
Infiltrate.
Yeah, infiltrate. Because that's what it would do.
Yeah,
because they would pay. They would be paying.
Right.
What I'm saying? They pay that money.
Right.
And those songs would take off, and it would influence other markets and say, oh, this is what we need to do, this is where we need to go. So all of that to let you know that there was an influence with all of these trades, with all of these different consultants. They would be paid heavily by the labels and say, hey, push this artist, don't push this artist, push this one. And then ultimately that would steamroll and create the big monster, big marketing monster that of artists that we have that came out, what I'm saying, like Snoop for instance. But just watching all of that come together, you can see that there were so many different influences that came together that just pretty much told us who our next superstars were going to be. Just much like if you think about it in a political sense, in a way,
it's the same way.
It's the same way. They tell us who our leaders are going to be.
Yep.
But the common denominator to all that is that Black folks need to quit being so gullible and falling for anything and start using this right here to dictate where we're going to go. We're people that are led by emotions as well as led by our ancestors and, and instincts, tribal instincts.
Right.
I want to say one thing. That's why I use the word poverty, because I don't necessarily feel like it's Black folks. I feel like it's poverty, and what the media turns around and does is makes it Black folks
and make us the poster child every time.
Exactly, by only showing one side of Black folks, which white people got the same side, but instead of instead of doing what we doing, they on every exit with signs begging for money.
Right. No, that's real. That's real.
Yeah, true.
That's real.
No, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. I mean, I'll say this is that since we really pretty much dictate culture as well as trends and everything, of course, it's going to be put on us. It's definitely going to be put on us. But
and that's the whole, ever since this country was created and we got free, it's been the push and divide to make them look like less than. So we can deplete them.
Like Cat Williams said, this. Man, he said, why do we study these people so much? You know what I'm saying? It's like they know who we are. They know our greatness, and a lot of times we don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
They're not worried about us. You know what I'm saying? But we worried about them and their social, acceptance. But I'll say this is that I heard someone say at one point in time, they said that poverty was the root of all evil. Money isn't the root of all evil. Poverty is the root of all evil. Because think about it, everything that comes from poverty, that impoverished mind. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you'll do when you don't have it, think about it, it's hip hop. In the end, it's hip hop. Poverty is the root of all evil because it's like that impoverished mind
when you get down to it,
will make you do whatever to get it.
Right. So it's still money then. You're saying the same thing. I agree with what you're saying, bro.
It's just the remix on it. Right. It's just the remix on it. Right. But I want to switch gears. It's still music. But I want to get to a genre of music that is near and dear to all of our hearts. And it's my first love, and that's R&B. One of the best writers and producers of his generation who helped craft the Usher Confessions album. Brian Michael Cox was on a podcast recently, and they asked him a very profound question, and he gave an even more profound answer, in my opinion. I want to get y'all thoughts about it. They asked him, why is R&B music suffering? Why don't we have the R&B that our parents had, that we had in the 90s, or even our younger siblings or cousins had in the early 2000s? Like, why is R&B suffering so much? Because you think about it, we just got to talking about hip hop, and we understand the genesis of hip hop is sampling what? Our mothers and our grandmothers' records. You know what I'm saying? Those soul records. And then now,
well, Brother Inside, give us your opinion first.
But no. I'm gonna tell you his answer. That I want y'all opinion about his answer.
Okay.
Because we know that hip hop took those samples from those soul records, and now our children's artists. My son posted a video today of a Faith Evans sample of a video that he posted, and Brian Michael Cox said the reason why R&B music is suffering today and is low level, low vibration, doesn't have any soul, is because the top singers don't go to church. They didn't come from the church. They didn't have that training and having a Dr. Charles Ford or a Thomas Whitfield, some of the greats that was in these churches and in these different locations around the country, teaching people how to sing properly, how to play instruments. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, that was so profound when I heard him say that. And I think he's absolutely 100% correct. What say you, brothers?
I say that, you know, he must have been in the church. That's why he has that perspective.
He's from Houston.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But what I would say is it's a lack of vocabulary. I would say, you know, it's a lack of morality. Because really when you look at the R&B of yesterday, it was more romantic.
Yes.
You know, this R&B is more about sex. It's more about, you know, sexuality and you know, actually doing things versus being romantic to a woman and showing her love, because things like romance and love is timeless and always will be.
Yeah.
Whenever you get through with it. That's why they're sampling these songs, because they need that element in there.
Right.
But in reality, all they're talking about is sex.
Bonds.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mr. R&B is dead, man. Talk to me, man. Y'all remember Bonds had the R&B is dead movement going strong.
Yeah, R&B is dead, and it has been for a minute. I hate to say it, just because, you know, we did a horrible job of really training up the next generation to appreciate love and romance and, you know, I guess how to treat each other, how to really love each other and express our love to each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
appreciation of what a healthy relationship looks like through music.
Yeah, because hip hop came along and just made it super dysfunctional. Well, let's just say rap. I'm not gonna say hip hop. Let's say rap came along and made it super dysfunctional, and you know, just the trends that came along with it made it okay for us to have baby mamas, baby daddies, and you know, and the like. You know what I'm saying? And once that
hold on, brother. They had baby mama. Well, they didn't use those words.
Right.
My man.
But it wasn't okay. It was, you had a kid.
Well,
they would hide you. They would hide you down south.
They had less coverage, and they didn't have phones. They only had house phones. But yeah, they had, you know, something across the street, something downtown. What
Bobby Blue Man say, Kurt? I know your grandfather played it. Cheating in the
next room. Yeah, true. True. I mean,
right.
if you look at, you know, let's just say Bobby
but in their
Womack,
defense, that wasn't the whole playlist. That was a small segment of what was going on. This generation's whole playlist.
Yeah.
So
and that was blues. I mean, let's think about it. That's blues.
Yeah,
that's what we're supposed to talk about.
It's called
blues,
rhythm and blues, so it comes from that.
But you know, it's coming from like us not really teaching this new generation. You know what I'm saying? And then once they took music instruments, a lot of music programs out of the school, it's like, okay, where they learn it. You know, so a lot of people stopped going to church.
That too.
That's what we learned. That's what we learned. That's where I learned singing and the love for R&B and all of that in church at Lincoln Heights Baptist. You know what I'm saying? I remember the day like it was yesterday. Roger was like, let's come up with a group. We said, yeah. Roger said, because Reverend Pifus was about to get a deal. If you remember, he was about to get a record deal with LA and Babyface in them.
With the deal.
Yeah. And he was like, it was either that or preach the gospel. He preached the gospel, part of his story, but he still had love for the industry, and he still, you know, pretty much influenced us in that, along with Eric as well.
No doubt.
And Eric Wofford, shout out to him. But
he does,
you know, I remember that day. We said in that bathroom, we said either we gonna have a rap group or we gonna have a singing group. Which one we gonna have? and we chose to have a singing group.
Singing,
and from there, we started doing Boys to Men. We started doing all kind of, you know what I'm saying, and we went on from there. But these are the things that, you know, was kind of brought up from the generation before us.
It
and
was.
Once we
Groups,
were influenced
singing.
by that, we were influenced by that, but we lost that influence. We lost that, you know, along the way with rap music and the gangster rap music and all that stuff. And, you know, sadly, that's where we're at right now, where, you know, these cats are singing now, they're sounding like, you know, little girls, you know what I'm saying? Voices are all feminine and everything. And, you know, and everything is just so vulgar and just to the point with sex, you know, innuendos and everything. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get it back to its truest, rawest form of R&B. But, you know,
I think we can.
The popular music sounds like that.
Yes, you was read my mind, Kurt. I think we can, and I think we will, because I think we are. You know, Barry makes fun of me. He calls me the number one A&R for SoundCloud music. You know what I'm saying?
Number one A&R, SoundCloud A&R right there, boy. If you on SoundCloud, he gonna find you.
Because Barry will tell you, like, I will find the most obscure, you know, R&B artist that's, you know, from another country and be like, yo, check this out. And shout out to Darius, because Darius put me onto a lot of artists. But if you listen to a lot of the UK artists, they have that soul, man. They have great, strong song structure and writing. Yeah. They have bridges. They have, you know what I'm saying? Multiple.
They replicating. Just like Motown.
Right. I'm saying they're keeping it alive when the people that created it.
Why do you think that is, though?
Because I think they're tapped into the essence of what real R&B music is. And that music resonates with them, unlike today's music resonates with them.
Well, I'll say, the Crown ain't letting all that foolishness go on.
That too.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's
this foolishness is not going on around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not having it. I mean, they didn't already let you know, black chick into the Buckingham Palace. They ain't letting nothing else slide. They like, no, you right. Let nothing else slide. We ain't bringing the Jamarquavius in here. Ain't nobody getting married to a Jamarquavius up in here. We shut that down. But you're right.
I think everybody's watching us and seeing the results. So, you know, if you've ever uploaded something and it was risque, you saw all the countries that it was blocked in.
Yeah.
And I can really say UK was one of them.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Let's just look at it. Just look at how we are, man, here. Think about it. You go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, every second profile you seeing a chick doing one of these, showing her butt and everything. It's like,
even,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, even the like middle-aged chicks is like,
yeah.
You say the grannies?
Wow. Yeah.
That's what you say, the grannies?
Not the grannies. Like
he talking about like the 35 to 45-year-olds.
Yeah, working women. Like it's a little more subtle, but they're like really still doing it.
They looking for them likes too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're looking for them likes.
Yeah. But while we got that it's like trying to bring back a time and a genre of music that elevates and influences, you know, the singer, the author, the singer, or whatever, producer, composer, to be romantic in its approach to, you know, a woman in their quest or their, you know, for a woman. That is never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Especially now, it's like, what motivates that? What motivates you to be romantic and be poetic? You know what I'm saying? In song anymore. Nothing. Everything is out there now. It's like, who's going to be poetic and romantic?
I would answer that question by saying there is a you know, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, or more, even 10 million that is really digging, because there is a genre, you know, like her, Snow Allegra. I'm talking
Alex Isley, who I told Barry about 12 years ago, and he laughed at me.
I'm talking about the popular ones. No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about the popular ones. Pink
straight from SoundCloud.
Pink sweatsuits. You know what I mean? Like it's what's the young lady from
Cleo Soul
from the UK?
Cleo Soul. Ella May.
Ella May.
You know, so
you got hold on. What's the dang? I forget the white chick.
But I can't let y'all disrespect Alex Isaac like that. She might not be the most popular, but she making some great music and winning Grammys out here too.
I totally agree.
Shout out to SoundCloud. Yeah, no doubt.
And that's
Lincoln Heights home.
You absolutely right, because
Teaneck, New Jersey's on.
I'm
Stop
talking
it.
about that. I'm talking about that 5 or 10 million that she's
you
fine
right.
with. That she's fine with, and getting that music across.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he could definitely, come back, but you got so many gatekeepers that's gonna just stop that, man. You know what I'm saying? So many gatekeepers stop that, and I just think that that Black culture now is so ignorant and just just wayward that it seems like if it's not ignorant, if it's not something that's just just kind of like
I disagree
polarizing.
With that.
Yeah, I disagree with that too.
I think
Black culture isn't trash right now.
No, I just think that's what's being promoted.
Right. The algorithm is trash. I
think the people in power that's showing it on TV, putting it on radio, and running the algorithm like D is referring to.
But you see the common denominator through all of this, even with the music, everything we talk about tonight is our quest to get money, and that we will sell our souls, we will sell our people, and we will sell our ethics for the paper. All of this, from everything we talked about tonight.
And all of that goes back to how Kurt started off the conversation with poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like poverty is the common denominator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And poverty is what I say? Poverty is the root of all evil.
But also poverty is not exclusive to Black people neither. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. You're right about that. You're right about that. But I will say that Black culture right now is trash. It really is trash.
Going back to the R&B discussion, and y'all tell me how y'all feel about this. R&B is at a standstill right now. Barry says dead. I say it's thriving. It's just not thriving in the mainstream. We have probably the last major R&B artist not named Beyonce who's going to be taking the Super Bowl stage in 2 weeks. And I think he has an opportunity to showcase the 90s and early 2000s R&B in a way that we haven't really seen on this type of a stage. I heard he has an album dropping along with it, which is smart. Drop some new music with this platform that you're going to have. Do you guys feel like Usher has an obligation to R&B and R&B music by stepping on this stage and showing the world what valuable, high character R&B sounds like?
I mean, that would be like too much like right for him to do that. Well, I feel like he's probably going to move more towards an affiliation or an obligation to please the Black culture.
D, rephrase that question for our guests. Explain more. Explain more what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is, we all know when we heard maximize the moment, right? And it just jogged my memory when New Edition dropped their epic series, the 3-night series, and everybody was saying they should have went on tour. They should have dropped new music because you have the momentum, you have the world, and everybody watching and waiting what's next. I feel like Usher has that same opportunity with taking the Super Bowl stage in 2 weeks to show the world what R&B music really sounds like, what it looks like, what it feels like. And if he's dropping new music, if he's on the stage giving us this music, do you think that he has an opportunity to be a steward to bring, R&B music to the forefront in a way that we haven't seen in recent history?
I want to say first,
on a stage of that magnitude.
So Kurt, what would that look like?
You look like Joe Budden. I'm just gonna put that out there. You look like Joe Budden right now.
This dude.
I ain't gonna lie. You know you do. You looking like, do I? Yeah, you do.
Well, I ain't never done heroin, and I ain't never and I ain't never been no hater. So but I get the similarity though.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna put this out there. Like I think I'm more handsome than that brother. Like he might have had one hit, but you know what I'm saying?
Definitely one hit.
Yeah.
Pump it up.
So I would really venture to say that there, it's not as big as this rap thing that's going on, but there is a lot of young R&B artists. There's a lot of young people that love R&B. new, and then it, you know, introduces them into old. I was talking to
Yes.
my niece earlier today. She had just got her a new Crosley record player and was diving into all these records and learning all the things that have been sampled. But
Yes.
you know, Usher just got through doing I think it was like a year and a
A
half,
very successful residency.
a
Yeah.
very successful residency that showed you the power of love music.
That's my point.
And
Yep.
and he I think he is probably like 75-25 love and sex music, 25 being the sex. But I think majority of his music is, you know, love music.
Right.
So I think that he's gonna totally take that torch and spark a fire.
I hope so. Yeah.
Because you know, when you really think about how vitriol that rap is right now, I think they gotta be like that, because what they're trying to do with people like Sexy Red and you know, and these other females is totally turn the woman off from the man. You know what I'm saying? So we stop reproducing. And we seem to still be reproducing, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because funny how that always happens.
To me, that's when we really break it down to the simple topics of this conversation. You know, murder, death, kill is the music, the rap music, and the females are speaking. Hey, you know, I'm only here for one night, just like you are. So, you know, you might as well stay away from me, and I'll stay away from you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And,
I'm about that bag.
Jermaine Dupri call it stripper music. That's what he call it.
It's
like
prostitute.
That's
I call it prostitution.
That's what Jermaine Dupri call it.
And
they got mad at him for saying that.
That's exactly what it is. Because you can go to a strip club, you can also go see some dancers.
Prostitution music. But you know, I mean, like I said, the common denominator is us. If we as a people change our minds, I don't understand why we are so turned on by everything that's wrong. Everything that's wrong for us, we are so turned on. I'm not speaking about all of us in totality. I'm just saying there's that few. And I hate the fact that, you know, nowadays, and you think about this in society. Yeah. Well, in society nowadays, we're listening to those who are the less impressive. It's like you being the smart dude that's in class holding a 4.0 average, but then you're listening to the cool dude who's out here almost 1 second, one grade away from dropping out. You know, the thug that ain't got nothing going for himself other than the fact that, you know, he done lifted a couple of weights or he got a couple of chicks on him or whatnot. He out here committing crimes. We're more so gravitated towards that person than we are the person that's going to do something with his life or that's, you know, on the right road. They got things going for himself. Think about it. When we went to college, did anybody throw us any parties? But I'm sure no, I've seen a whole bunch of parties thrown for dudes coming home from jail from 15 years or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? If we change our minds, and it's something that I used to call the contradictions of Black folks, and I wish I would have wrote all of it down. In fact, I think that's what I'm gonna do. But it's called the contradictions of Black folks. I came up with a whole bunch of contradictions just as Black folks, things that we say and we do that just contradict each other. You know what I'm saying? If we could control our contradictions, trust me, I think we could get a hold of some of our demons and be able to move in a more desired manner. Because right now, we just everywhere and we doing all kind of effery. You know what I'm saying? I think that Usher is going to do what he do. I really think that he's going to has an obligation to try to please the culture right now, Black culture, popular culture, trending culture. And that's what I think he's going to do. I would love for him to do something that really stand up for the true essence of R&B music so that people can feel it, fall in love with it again, or at least for it to trend. But I don't think he'll do that. I think for that 6 minutes that he has.
It's 13.
13? Okay, that 13 minutes that he has, he's going to do what the world wants him to do. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see Lil Jon and hey, we're going to see all of that. And
well, you got to see that. That's one of his biggest
once again, I respectfully, disagree with my good friend, my good brother, fighting a good fight, brother Barry Bonds. I think that he's gonna ignite something. He's gonna ignite some roller skate. Because a lot of people have went to the residency, but I think he's gonna ignite some roller skating,
My
some
wife went and
dancing,
enjoyed it. Yeah.
some dancing. I think that game gonna be turned off early and be
Yeah.
in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Say a couple days before Valentine's Day.
Right. A couple days before. Well,
Couple
Stills,
days
I was
before
doing the
Valentine's
hoochie coochie,
Day.
my friend. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think
real.
because love is infectious, man.
Yes.
And it spreads way faster than this rap music we talking about. So
That's a fact.
after Usher graces that stage, dances around, skates around, maybe it's some girls that come out and do drop that thing. I think that's gonna be the least of it, though. I think we just gonna hear love, and it's gonna be infectious, man. And I think I think we're gonna have to soak it up. I think we
Yeah.
gotta post it. We gotta
Yes.
post it. We gotta repost it and post it way more than they posting this negative stuff.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put a button in here, man. And this is a very question too, and then you can chime in, Kurt. When we look at music overall, we started off talking about hip hop, we ended on R&B, man. And I think one thing that's missing in music, and I think it's done purposely, and you can talk about this, boss, because you know a lot more about this than us two here. Artist development, man. Artist development. When you look at, let's just say, Motown and what Barry Gordy did, how he created the label like the factories in Detroit, the
Yeah.
assembly line. You work on writing, you work on vocals, you work on the music, you work on the production, you work on the dances. Like all of those artists were tapped in on every aspect of the game and reaching their fullest potential to be a full artist. And when you look at both rap and hip hop, rap and R&B suffering, we don't see artist development anymore, man. Do you think that is true, or do you think artist development? And if you do think it's true, do you think artist development needs to come back? Because a kid can be in his room and get a number one hit and don't know how to properly perform, how to formulate a record, and so on and so forth.
Well, I mean, a lot of these kids don't even know what bars are or how to count bars.
Yes.
They just think bars are just, oh, it was a punchline that said. But, that was one thing that I was very keen on. I've listened to so many podcasts, talked to so many artists. I've worked with so many artists, even going back in the day with Jazz Fest, being able to talk to the greats.
Yes.
Like, one came to mind was Dennis Edwards, him and the Temptations, being able
Gerald
to
Levert. Remember we chopped it up with Gerald.
Gerald Levert, you know what I'm saying? Even Luther Vandross, you know what I'm saying? Him telling me that, he started out as being, the president of the Patti LaBelle fan club, fan club, you know what I'm saying? So,
and then he became a jingle writer.
Yeah, then a jingle writer. Then he hit Sesame Street. So many stories, of how people started. But the thing is that back in the day, they had a budget, for artist development, and that artist development would lead them to go, seclude themselves in houses or apartments, just like Jodeci in the basement in them. They went up to Rochester, New York, and that's where he was at. He had Player, Genuine, all of them.
Missy, don't forget Missy and Timbo.
Yeah, Sister, all of them staying in an apartment up in Rochester, New York, away from New York City. You know what I'm saying? Working on their craft, and even to this day, you still have certain labels, even though there's only 3 major ones, you still have certain labels who are independent, who invest in artist development. But right now, it's pretty much the come up of all come ups. That's why you see so much fly by night music, fly by night, artists. Think about back in the days, we had superstars, real deal, solidified superstars that were just undeniable, like your Hammers. Who else? You had Boys to Men, you had
Jodeci,
the Jodeci's, you had the Mary J. Bliges, you had
Kales.
Superstars, Kales, that you couldn't even sit back and even deny, second guess.
I know where
you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we had Nas. Okay, we had Nas. Okay,
no, I know y'all.
Oh,
I'm not gonna go there, man.
But that's what I'm saying.
Mary J. Blige can never sing, bro. Like the whole time, she can't sing, she can't dance.
Hey man,
Like,
Mary J. Blige,
it was
straight
just,
superstar. She's
it
not
was
Faith
just,
Evans,
it was just
but
music,
MJB
bro. It was just music. It was the music.
MJB was a
Puffy,
star.
Puffy,
She got all the little hood
Puffy,
rat chicks. Yeah, yeah, true. Even him. But the thing is
Puffy
that
was a star. It made
yeah,
her a
but
star.
Her songwriters and producers were the stars because
There you go.
Chucky
if
Thompson, yeah,
That's
Chucky, God rest the
yes.
dead, the great Chucky Thompson, the
yes,
great
yeah,
Stevie J, the Hitman, all of them
yeah,
dudes together. So
yeah.
yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. But again, it go art and then artist development
Because,
goes.
and the only reason I say that is because I'm sorry to cut your knowledge,
No. Go
brother.
ahead.
The only reason I say that is because the very thing that we are talking about in developing artists, she was so developed that she couldn't even sing and had a whole colossal career. I'm not going to take away from
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
her career and everything she did, but the sister's vocals are super limited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
true.
the artist development ties back into the church because our biggest superstars, the Whitney Houstons, the R. Kellys, the Donny Hathaways,
Yeah,
the Sam Cooks, all those guys come from the church. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So when they got to quote unquote secular music, they was ready to rock and roll. They really
So
didn't really need
they brought that
anybody
soul.
behind them. They had the sauce with them when they got there. So
Well, I
that
mean,
artist development started in church.
all artist development is having an artist having a plan for an artist. That's it.
Well,
It's
that's
just
what
having
they
a plan,
did.
Yeah.
being
Right.
able to say this is who your demographic, your audience is going to be
Right.
based on your presentation, and that's
And
why
they
Mary
did
J.
that
Blige
excellently.
worked
Yup. There we
with Mary
go.
J. because you had a whole section of a demographic of hood chicks that came from the projects, from the bricks, that fell in love and that wore the emotions on their sleeve, and that was who their leader is. You know what I'm saying?
And they
But
did the same thing with Sexy Red.
It's the
That's the
same
same
thing. Yep.
the
playbook.
same
It's the
thing.
same
Just
playbook.
yeah, the
I
same
like
thing.
that.
But at
that.
the end of the day, it's just more so now. Everything is so ready-made and microwavable that you don't have those ready-made, undeniable superstars that are going to come through here and actually win Grammys and actually, deserve, to win Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, a Grammy was like, yo, you made it to the pinnacle, the top, pinnacle. Now anybody can get a Grammy. Now they say Ice Spice is gonna get a Grammy for being the new artist of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
come on,
When
but
they to sum up all what we're saying is they didn't kill enough people when they created and A&R, I guess you call it, Mary J.
yeah,
Blige. Matter of fact, they reproduced too much.
Too
So
much.
now,
yeah,
Too
now,
much.
yeah.
now we got to put something out that's so diabolical.
Man. So that
Well, see,
again.
that's the thing is that now the A&R position is pretty much defunct. Anybody claiming their A&R, it's like, okay, well, what are you doing?
It's a laughable position now.
Yeah. Are you really, doing the artist repertoire, helping artists to move along and help to grow and build their career? Or are you just saying, okay, I found this person on SoundCloud. They got a couple 100,000 followers.
That's
and
A&R
whatnot.
now.
Let's put them out.
Scrolling YouTube trying to find somebody. They got a base. They got a base.
Exactly. Got a base. And that's it. And just putting them out.
Once again, let's reiterate that these record companies are currently dying off.
Yeah, it's only 3 of them. It used to be more than that, but it's only 3 majors now, and that's it. So,
what is it? Interscope,
Sony, yeah, and then Warner.
Yeah, wow. Warner Music Group.
So after that's pretty much it. But as you hear that right now, if you're looking at the trades, if you're looking at the the news, they had a horrible year. They lost money. They lost money. They're doing a lot of layoffs.
Right.
And it's going to get even worse. So it's anybody's game right now. If you're playing that game, it's anybody's game where if you came up with, maybe a boutique label, small label or whatever, and, you put some real thought behind it, maybe you just kept the artist roster small, you could really do some damage and actually find your way, in this game as a major player,
Wow.
You got everything at your fingertips. I mean, you got your phone, which can be your promotions and marketing, what I'm saying, right here. And then anybody can, film a video from a cell phone to, any kind of little handheld or, videos going for $500, probably even cheaper nowadays, but the thing that I would say is that right now, and this is something I've been saying for the past 5 years, is that whoever comes out with a newer genre of music that kind of change the messaging. If you think about one thing that never goes out of style, every single year, everybody's trying to do it. Top of the year, everybody's trying to do it. What's that? They're trying to work out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going out to work out, trying to get their bodies right. What are you doing when you're trying to get motivated? You listen to motivational speakers. Why can't a motivational speaker be a rapper? Why can't these rappers and whatnot start using motivational, messages? You know what I'm saying? Much like a D1. You know what I'm saying? Motivational music. Motivational music. I don't understand why it hasn't been really invested, researched and really invested in right now. It's motivational music, talking about overcoming.
Like Les Brown over some ill production.
Over ill beat. It's called motivational music. It's like overcoming obstacles, affirming, manifesting, everything that they talk about on these shorts, these YouTube shorts, on Instagram, all of that. All you got to do is just put a beat behind it and just start going, you know what I'm saying? And just start talking about whatever you're wanting to achieve, wanting to overcome, wanting to do under a crazy beat. Trust me,
you might want to put that in the tub, brother.
You're right. Real. Yeah. Right. I might have to edit this out.
Motivational music. And it's a kid that I listen to, that it's a kid that I listened to. What was his name? I got the song, but he has a song or whatnot, and I'll send it to you guys. But his whole thing is just like motivation. Yeah. Oh my God, it just gets you to the point where, I listen to it in the morning, I'm headed to work, and I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Gets me pumped, gets me ready, but I don't understand why people have not. Ross has the closest thing to aspirational motivational music. When those Maybach music compilations that he has, closest thing. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about achieving goals and closing deals and stuff. Come on, man. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Motivational music could be huge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This is I listen to 98.5 kind of the sometimes, and Don Tesh that used to be on like Entertainment Tonight is on there.
Oh, he's an incredible pianist. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. That's crazy. I never did that. I thought he was just like a talking head, but he was speaking about that. But he just said that music adds 20 minutes to your workout. He just said, because on his, if you ever listen to his syndicated radio, he gives you tips all throughout every break. He's giving you a tip, and that was one of his tips.
Wow, I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, everybody works out, man. Everybody's going to work out. Everybody wants to get better. Everybody's manifested, and everybody's speaking into existence. Every time you go on Instagram, you're seeing these messages posted and whatnot.
You're right.
Why not?
You're right.
Why not? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good way. That's a good way to end the conversation. Go ahead.
That's a great way. Ain't nothing else to say, man. Our brother Barry Bonds back in the building. It was a great conversation, a great talk, man. Hopefully you all enjoyed this conversation as much as we love having it. And
I wish y'all let me come on some of the other conversations. I mean,
hey, the invitation is open, brother. Whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, please.
We got we got one that we cooking right now that we definitely gonna want to have you a part of. So be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. But, you know what? I really want to go in on the contradictions of Black folks. I really want to go on in something like that, because I think that will, because we got to get down to the root of why Black culture right now is so trash. You know what I'm saying? Even for our kids. I was just sitting with my son. We looking at stuff on TV, and I'm just like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be like them. Don't ever hang with them. Don't do nothing like that with them. We got to get to the bottom of it, man.
I think we should go ahead and make that the next episode. But to me, the problem solver sounds like that Black man being in that household.
That's it. You took the
words. Ain't ready to have that conversation though. I don't think they ready to have that conversation.
That's it right there. Because when that father's in the house, I don't have to go and tell you don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Like, you're gonna have an idea of the things that you're not supposed to do, because the head is there, and you watching Pops move. you go naturally move and flow in his direction. Now you might have some hiccups and do some stuff you're not supposed to. We all did that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that those morals and those values and those characteristics are going to be instilled in you to where you're not going to veer too far away. So that's it, man. We'll see y'all next week.
I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost.
Well, hey, we'll see y'all next week. Our brother Bonds will be back with us, and we appreciate y'all, man. Church After Hours.
Peace.